Okay, so join me as I make a venture towards Dover. So I got the train from London, Paddington to Dover. It's fairly accessible, as you can see. I've arrived at Dover Priory Station, and it's a short walk towards the actual town centre. There's not really much to look at. There's a nice cafe on the left here. And the lads obviously doing their work for the day. Dover College. There is one thing I will say about Dover. As you'll see, it does look quite run down in the town centre. But the men there and the people, they seem pretty hardy. And I'm not sure if that's due to the poverty of the area, where obviously they have to be strong, and it's not a place for weakness really. Everyone's just going about their daily lives. I didn't realise Canterbury was not actually too far from Dover. It's got a lot of history in that town. There's Dover Castle at the top there. Just past this roundabout is where the actual town centre is. And here we are actually in the town centre. And I think look, a lot of the places on the coastal towns of Britain, a lot of them have actually been very neglected, and they are rather run down. You know, you've got your generic shops, but the spirit of the place doesn't really seem to be. There seems to be a lack of mentality. And that's no judgment to the people of Dover. They're just trying to make the best of the situation they're in. Nice church. A lot of the churches Obviously, across the country, you can identify them with the different materials that are used to construct them. And I thought that one was quite unique. And there's a good old British souvenir shop. Get all your bric-a-brac. Looking pretty run down. And there's quite a lot of people sitting in the cafes and in the pubs and bars. But I suppose there is quite a lot of footfall that passes through Dover from the ferry from France. And the house prices are still fairly high. Well, I suppose they're alright really. But I don't think many wealthy people would choose to live in Dover permanently. Maybe a holiday home. Good old British Heart Foundation. Get all your furniture. It's pretty good actually. You usually find some good stuff in there for reasonable price. But yeah, a lot of vacant shops, like many of the places in England. Particularly, like I said, coastal towns. Just go down this alleyway. Some good shops down here. They've got Trespass, Marks and Spencer's, and a few other commercial shops as well. As you can see, it's still fairly busy. I'm just going to risk my life here across this road. They're probably thinking, what is this man doing? I'm crossing the road, mate. Now we're coming up to the seafront. There she is, the sea. Must be a nice view from there. You can see the port where the ferries leave. And where I'm walking towards now, over there, that's the dockyard, which is actually where a lot of the illegal migrants get brought into by the RNLI, which we'll see shortly. And a nice pebble beach. And apparently Dover's very good for fishing as well. Not so many people around here. Now, I did get the feeling while I was in Dover that it still remains quite a patriotic town. There's a lot of Union Jack flags and English flags hanging around, which is great to see. It's a fairly long stretch on the coast, from the ferry port to the dockyard. Roughly 25-minute walk. Now we're approaching one of the entrances to the dockyard. So now we're just walking towards the RNLI station, where they dock their little boat. That's a fairly long stretch. So this here is infamous Dover station where the illegal migrants are brought in. I had to be quick recording here because I didn't want to bother them too much. Just wanted to get some footage. But if you can see, this is what the migrants will see when they arrive. I'm not sure if you can see that close enough. Not sure why I've zoomed in that far. But still a nice place if you've got a yacht or a boat to dock up and get ready to sail off. Some history of the place. Quick pit stop and fish and chips. Sitting by the coast. Fantastic. And here I am on the ferry. Morning coffee. And now we are arriving into Calais. It's a fairly quick journey from Dover to Calais. It takes roughly 90 minutes. Hello. There we are. Port de Calais. My French is terrible. I'll give it a go. And so from here, you can get the bus straight to the centre of Calais, which to my surprise is actually free. And all of the bus fares, well, there is no bus fares in Calais. You can get around on public transport for free, which I thought was really good. I don't really know what sort of production goes on here, but I imagine a lot of storage. You can see the cars and the vans. And obviously it's very secure. As you can see, it's a widespread area. It takes probably about 15 to 20 minutes to get to Calais, into the actual town. Nice bit of hedge there. And I did notice this. I mean, obviously you could say it's homelessness, but I didn't see a lot of homelessness. And this is near the coach station in Calais. So there obviously is someone rough sleeping, which is not surprising in a place like Calais due to the density of population. But nevertheless, it's a nice walk. Here we are on one of the main strips in Calais. Lots of restaurants, pubs. Well, there's one pub quite similar to the British one, named Family Pub. I recommend. Do a good burger. And here we are now going along the coast, and really nice views on this journey. And this is just past Sagate. So along this coastline and then towards Calais is where some of the illegal migrants will leave shore on the rubber dinghies. Unfortunately, I didn't spot any on my journey, but it's still good to know sort of where they are operating and where they're leaving from. And here we are on the beach. And this area here is known for the migrants to ship off also. Beside the migrants, it's also a lovely beach. A good atmosphere there. Clean water, lovely sandy beaches. and that wave just got me absolutely soaked. I did actually manage to speak to some of the locals in Calais, and the opinion is very much of they don't actually want the migrants themselves, so they're not too fast if they come to the UK. And they said because of the European laws, once the migrants are in the sea on the boats, they can't actually do anything. But if they're caught while they're actually on the beaches, then yeah, they can be apprehended. But yeah, that's the beach where they all sort of set off from, among many other places along the coast. You know, a cheeky pint. And here I was walking past the coach station, and I managed to capture some footage of what I would say was illegal migrants have just come here, arrived, and they've all got their sleeping bags, and they're obviously coming from a long place, and they weren't too happy about me recording, but that's besides the point. And just to give a bit more perspective, that coastline there is where they sail from, the illegals. All along there, there will be certain migrant camps scattered around. And they have a lovely, almost blue sky. And there they are, the white cliffs of Dover. Well, there we are, almost home. Off the ferry. And there you are, there's my little journey from Dover to Calais. I hope that gives you a bit of a perspective of where the migrants are coming from, and just to give you a bit more of a better perspective. Goodbye.